Billionaire twins turned down every dish. Made by all the housemaids, until a poor maid with a haunting past arrived. What followed will leave you speechless. If you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe, tap that like button, and share this video with your loved ones. Also, drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. It was one of those manic Monday mornings at the Nosu mansion. Daniel looked like he was fleeing a kitchen explosion, spatula clutched in one hand, a towel smudged with egg yolk flung over his shoulder. The kitchen was in total disarray. Smoke poured out of the toaster, where 2 slices of bread had morphed into pitch-black bricks. The kettle shrieked like a siren, as if warning of incoming doom. Scrambled eggs hissed on the stove like they were about to launch an attack. Daniel's shirt was blotched with orange juice, and one sock had mysteriously attached itself to the refrigerator door. This wasn't a luxury estate anymore, it was a culinary war zone. And Daniel, CEO of Nosu Constructions, was clearly getting his butt kicked. "Kids, breakfast is almost ready," he hollered, poking his frazzled head out of the smoky kitchen like a man begging for backup. No answer. Then, stomp stomp stomp, 2 pairs of little feet came pounding down the hallway. And just like that, the morning argument kicked off. "I think we should wear pink today," announced Ava, age 7, striking a pose in her pink skirt and matching shades like a miniature fashion icon on a mission. "No way. I'm not a girl." "We're wearing blue," her twin brother Aiden shot back, hoisting his blue t-shirt like it was a superhero cape. "But we wore blue yesterday." Ava snapped, hands on her hips and eyes blazing like a tiny general preparing for battle. "Then we'll wear it again today." Aiden countered, throwing his arms into the air like he was delivering a historic speech. Ava stepped closer, defiant. "I'm the older sibling. You should respect my choice." Aiden rolled his eyes and jabbed a finger at her forehead. "Older by 5 minutes doesn't make you the boss. I'm the second man in this house after Daddy. So you should start following my lead." From the kitchen, Daniel let out an exaggerated groan. "Guys, enough with the arguing. Just sit down and eat your breakfast." Then quickly added, "And stop chewing on the wires." He remembered all too well the day Aiden bit into a USB cord because he was curious if it had a flavor. The twins marched off to the dining table, still grumbling under their breath like tiny storm clouds. Daniel placed their plates down like he was handling royal treasures, toast, eggs, juice, and his full-hearted effort. Arms crossed, he stood tall, waiting for the praise to pour in. One bite later, and the chaos picked up right where it left off. "Daddy, your food tastes worse than something a baby would cook," Ava announced, staring at her fork like it had betrayed her trust. "Yeah, Daddy, too salty. And way too spicy." Aiden added, tongue sticking out like he'd just eaten lava. Daniel flopped into a nearby chair, utterly defeated. "Wait, let me check. Maybe it's not that bad." He took a bite, made a face, and coughed. "Okay, yeah, that's on me. I rushed so you wouldn't be late for school." He pointed an accusing finger at them. "But we wouldn't even be in this mess if you hadn't chased all your nannies away." Aiden calmly adjusted his napkin like a courtroom judge. "Daddy, the nannies you picked didn't understand how unique we are. That's why they couldn't stay." Daniel raised a weary eyebrow. "What do you mean, unique? Who told you that?" "You did, Daddy," the twins chorused, beaming with pride. "You remind us like, every single day," Ava added, popping a tiny bit of toast into her mouth like royalty. Daniel sighed, dropping his fork. "Look, I know you're special. But you've got to help me out too. Don't scare off the next nanny, okay? I'll try to find someone better this time." The twins nodded nonchalantly, as though doing him a huge favor. Then came round 2, getting ready for school. Daniel ran up and down the stairs 5 times looking for missing socks. He combed Ava's hair while she whined that he was pulling too hard. He tried tying Aiden's shoelaces, only for Aiden to say, "Daddy, that's not how Miss Peace used to do it." Daniel nearly lost his mind. Lunchboxes. School bags. Water bottles. Toothbrush. Emergency, juice spill. One uniform change. By the time he finally dropped them off, Daniel looked more like a tired construction worker than the boss of a construction company. He limped into his office at 9:12 a.m., collapsed into his chair like he'd just climbed a mountain, and leaned back for a deep breath. That's when his secretary, Linda, walked in with her iPad. "Sir, your 12 o'clock meeting has been moved to next week. The clients had to fly to Abuja for a family emergency," she said with polished professionalism. Daniel didn't even fake disappointment that he shut his eyes and whispered, "Thank heavens. I don't have the energy to sit through another meeting today." Linda arched an eyebrow. "Sir, are you all right? You look like someone who got into a fight with a wild animal." Daniel opened one eye and replied dryly, "Because I did. 2 wild animals, actually." Linda burst into laughter. "Still no nanny? You really need a new maid." Daniel rubbed his face with both hands, sighing deeply. "My kids are driving me absolutely insane." Linda offered. "Should I contact the maid agency again?" "No, forget the agency," Daniel said, straightening up. "This time, I need someone real. Someone grounded. Someone who actually understands kids and can teach them basic decency. Which they clearly don't have." Linda tapped her chin thoughtfully. I might know someone. But I'm not sure if she'd be interested." "Please, Linda," he pleaded. "I'll pay whatever it takes. I just need help. My house is chaos, and I have a company to run." Linda narrowed her eyes mischievously and grinned. "Maybe what you need is a girlfriend," she teased with a wink. Daniel pointed sternly at the door, not even cracking a smile. "Out. I'm still your boss. And trust me, I've already got a full plate without adding romance to it." They both burst out laughing as she exited. But when Daniel leaned back again, he couldn't help but wonder. Is there anyone out there who could actually survive Ava and Aiden Wosu? Meanwhile, Linda had already pulled out her phone. Across the city, another phone was about to ring. And someone's life was about to change, forever. In a small, quiet compound that smelled permanently of boiled yam and silent heartbreak, Valerie lay on her bed, wrapped in a faded wrapper, like someone who had forgotten what joy felt like. She stared at the ceiling, eyes dull, watching a tired fan spin slowly, much like the dreams she once held on to. Her heart felt like a stone. Her spirit barely intact. But it wasn't the silence that hurt the most, it was the constant echoes of cruel words. Empty pot. Useless woman. Wasted wife. What are you even doing in my son's house if you can't give him a child? Those words were her daily torment. Every day, she was dragged through the mud with no escape. Now she lay still, not sleeping, not awake, just existing. Then suddenly, her phone rang. It was Linda. Her best friend. Her only friend. Valerie blinked, as though waking from a fog, and snatched the phone. "Hello," she answered quickly. "Babe, are you still looking for work? My boss is in desperate need of a nanny. The pay is amazing." Valerie sat up like someone had just called her name in a dream. She adjusted her wrapper and quickly wiped the corners of her mouth. "Yes. Yes, I'm interested. Anything to get out of this house and breathe fresh air again." Linda chuckled gently, but her tone turned sincere. "Okay, but I need to warn you. These kids, they're baby tigers. You'll need patience, and a lot of love, to earn their trust. Their mother died when they were very young, and they haven't accepted anyone since. Deep down, they're hurting. But also, this man has gone through 15 maids in 3 years. I really hope you can last more than a day. Valerie gave a weary laugh. I'll try. I truly need this job. Linda's voice softened with concern. How are things over there? Is your husband and that devilish mother-in-law still giving you trouble? Valerie sighed. And in that sigh lived years of pain. Sis, it's worse now. They call me names all day long. Dry ground. Barren goat. Empty basket. Mama Martins has even moved in permanently. And she's threatening to bring in another wife. Linda hissed through her teeth. Wicked people. Valerie continued, her voice cracking. And Martins, he doesn't even defend me. He says I'm just eating his money and producing nothing, not even a girl child. That's why I really need to leave this place. Suddenly, their conversation was cut short by a booming voice from the living room, loud and sharp like thunder. Valerie. Valerie. Come and boil water for me to bathe. All you do is eat and lie down. Valerie froze, spending my son's money without even giving him a child. Linda was still on the call, but Valerie didn't respond. She just exhaled, deep and tired. I have to go, she whispered. She hung up, pulled her wrapper tight around her like it was armor, and walked out into the battlefield she called home. There, like a self-appointed general, sat Mama Martins, arms folded, mouth locked and loaded. Her scarf tied like she was heading to the market for a shouting match. Her eyes scanned Valerie like she was spoiled goods. Look at you. Be grateful I still let you stay in this house. When I bring in a new wife and she gets pregnant immediately, I will drive you out like a stray goat. Valerie said nothing. What was the point? Once upon a time, she was a top project manager for the state government, a woman of class and command. Her heels echoed through marble floors. Her emails moved budgets. Her signature opened doors. Then came marriage. Then came Martins. Resign, baby, he had begged. Let's build a home together. I earn more than enough for us both. And when she hesitated, Mama Martins added her own pressure. It's these your big woman jobs that are stopping your womb. If you want a baby, resign. Eventually, Valerie did, because love, they say, means sacrifice. She stepped away from her career. Right into a nightmare. Now here she was in the kitchen, boiling water for the same woman who insulted her like it was oxygen. She didn't speak. She didn't cry. She just stood by the stove, staring into the fire. That evening, when the house finally quieted down and Mama Martins had finished shouting at even the geckos on the wall, Valerie sat quietly by the window. The street outside was still. The sun was setting slowly. Her phone was quiet, but her heart was screaming. A whisper inside her soul said, "This is your chance. Don't miss it." She didn't know what awaited her. She wasn't sure if rich kids with attitude were something she could manage. She didn't know if their father would treat her with basic respect. But she knew one thing for sure, this house was killing her. And this job? It just might be her lifeline. One bright Wednesday afternoon, Valerie stood outside a massive glass building, clutching a slim file to her chest, whispering silent prayers. Her knees trembled. Her edges were sweating. Even the gate looked like it could judge your confidence and send you home if it wasn't solid. But Valerie wasn't here to be afraid. She was here to breathe again. The moment she walked into the reception, cool air kissed her face. There was the smell of designer perfumes. The silence of wealth. Guards in suits. Everything whispered, "This is not your world." She rode the elevator up, watching her reflection in the polished door. She looked tidy. Composed. Like someone who had fought too many battles and refused to surrender. On reaching the top floor, she inhaled deeply and knocked. A firm male voice responded. "Come in." Valerie stepped into a spacious office that looked like it could host a board meeting and a small wedding at the same time. Behind a large executive desk sat Daniel Nosu, eyes fixed on his laptop. Without glancing at her, he said, "Please, have a seat." Valerie obeyed, heart thumping like it was trying to escape. He kept typing. Then, still not looking at her, he asked, "So I hear you're good with kids?" "Yes, sir," she replied quickly, her voice slightly shaky. He continued typing. "Good. Do you have a degree in child care or hospitality?" Valerie blinked. The question slapped the air out of her. "A degree? For being a nanny?" she asked, trying not to laugh awkwardly. "No, sir. I don't have a certificate. But I have what matters most, experience. I'm the eldest of 7 children. I raised all my siblings. And I've taught children in Sunday school for over 20 years." For the first time, Daniel looked up from his screen. Valerie caught a faint smile tug at the edge of his lips. He gently closed his laptop. "All right. I've heard enough," he said. Daniel cleared his throat, trying not to let the smirk on his face grow. "Linda's told me a lot about you. I'm willing to give you a shot. Your salary will be 500,000 naira. I'll have the official contract sent to you. It'll outline the terms and expectations clearly." He gave a tired shrug. "Let's hope you survive more than a month." Valerie's mouth fell slightly open. She stood up so fast she nearly sent the chair flying. "Thank you, sir," she said, gripping her folder like it was her entire life savings. As she left the office, a single tear slipped quietly down her cheek. This time, it wasn't pain. It was hope. That night, she burst into the sitting room like someone returning from war with good news. Martins was stretched out on the couch, holding the remote like it was glued to his palm. He scrolled through channels without blinking, his face blank as usual. "Honey. I got the job. The one I told you about last week." He didn't even glance at her. The nanny one?" He popped a peanut into his mouth like punctuation. "Good for you." Then he added, without an ounce of emotion. "So you can take care of someone else's children, but you can't give your husband one. Funny world." The sentence cut through her like a machete. Valerie didn't shout. She didn't break anything. She just stood there, empty, before walking into the bedroom and closing the door gently. She didn't sleep that night. She ironed her clothes 3 times. Packed and repacked her bag like it was going to be searched by immigration officers. Folded a scarf in case the twins tried to tie her up. Because this wasn't just another job. It was her lifeline. Her last grip on reality. The next Monday morning, she arrived at the Nosu mansion. Not like a housemaid. Like a general in civilian clothing. Her shoes were soft-soled for speed. Her scarf was pinned tight like a crown. And her heart? Covered in prayers. She walked into the living room, and there they were. The infamous twins. Ava and Aiden Nosu. Sitting like little monarchs, iPads glowing in their palms, expressions blank and calculating. Valerie gave her brightest smile. "Good morning," she greeted. They didn't even lift their heads. She tried light conversation. Nothing. She complimented Aiden's shirt. He blinked twice but said nothing. She said Ava looked like a princess. The girl turned her face to the wall like she was allergic to compliments. Then came breakfast. That was when things started to crack. Valerie pleaded. She joked. She even sang a nursery rhyme she hadn't remembered in years. Still, chaos. One of them poured milk on the carpet for the puppy spirit that lives under the chair. The other hid a school shoe inside the freezer so it can feel cold like ice cream. Valerie was spinning like a ceiling fan in rainy season. Upstairs, Daniel stood quietly by the railing, sipping tea. He watched the chaos with the tired look of a man who had seen it all. I give her 3 days max, he muttered and walked away. By bedtime, Valerie's head was pounding like a talking drum at a village festival. She went home that night wondering if the headache was physical or spiritual warfare. Day 2 came. Still messy. But on day 3, she stopped reacting. She observed. She studied. And by day 4, she struck. Before the twins returned from school, Valerie went into stealth mode. She gathered their gadgets, gamepads, tablets, iPads, stuffed animals, racing toys, everything. She wrapped them inside a blanket like stolen treasure and shoved the bundle far under their bed. When Ava and Aiden got home and went upstairs, the scream could have raised the dead. "My bunny's gone," Ava wailed. "My remote control car is missing," Aiden cried. They thundered into the living room like detectives solving a national crime. Valerie was on the couch, sipping juice like a woman watching evening news. "Miss. Something is wrong. All our toys are missing. My bunny disappeared." Ava clutched her chest like she'd just lost a relative. Valerie raised an eyebrow, acting shocked. "Really? Your toys are missing. Where did you last see them?" "In our room," they shouted in unison. Valerie placed her juice down gently, nodding like a detective absorbing clues. Maybe someone sneaked in while I dozed off and took everything." Aiden's eyes widened. "We should call the police." Ava clapped in agreement. "Yes. This is serious. We need to report it. My bunny could be in danger." Valerie picked up her phone, quickly sent Linda a heads-up text, then dialed a random number with her best dramatic voice. "Hello, officer. I need to report stolen property." "Yes, several high-value items were taken. 2 iPads, race cars, and a stuffed rabbit." "Yes, it's causing serious emotional trauma." "Aha. Next week?" "Ah, I see. Too many emergencies. Thank you." She ended the call and turned to the twins with a sigh. "They said they'll send someone next week. There's a backlog of cases, armed robbery, flooding, a cow blocking traffic." Ava gasped. "Next week? I can't survive that long without Bunny. I haven't slept without her since I was 3. Valerie folded her arms and lowered her voice. "All right, then. Let's conduct a house-wide search. But first, I need to say something." The twins paused. "Since I got here, you two have treated me like I'm invisible, or worse, annoying. I'm not here to punish you. I'm here to care for you. Your dad loves you more than anything. That's why he brought me in." They looked at her, less like little warriors now, more like children unsure of how to feel. "If I'm going to help you find your toys," she continued, "we need to make a deal. You'll start cooperating with me. That means, no more throwing tantrums, no more skipping meals, no more hiding shoes in the microwave, and no cartoons unless I say so. Deal?" Aiden glanced at Ava. She sighed, then gave a small nod. "Deal," he said. "Fine. We'll try," Ava mumbled, arms crossed. Valerie's face broke into a smile. "Good. Now, detectives, let's get searching." For the next 2 hours, the Nosu mansion became a full-blown investigation zone. They looked under sofas, behind curtains, inside wardrobes, even in the fridge, just in case the imaginary puppy came back for snacks. Finally, Valerie bent beside the bed and called out with a gasp. "Wait a minute, what's this?" The twins ran over. There, bundled neatly under the bed, were their iPads, race cars, and a rather squished but still dignified bunny. "My bunny!" Ava cried, scooping it up like a baby. "My iPad! It's safe!" Aiden shouted. Valerie stood up slowly, wiping imaginary sweat off her forehead. Seems like it was here all along. The twins looked confused. But we checked everywhere. Maybe you missed it, she said calmly, folding the blanket. Ava squinted. Or maybe the thief returned everything when he saw we were serious. Valerie laughed. Mission accomplished. From that day forward, everything changed. They listened to her. They started eating without drama. They even told her secrets like she was part of their private kingdom. One afternoon, as they licked fried rice off their spoons, Ava leaned back with a happy sigh. You're the best cook in the world. Another evening, as Valerie braided Ava's hair while they watched cartoons, the little girl tilted her head curiously. Miss Valerie, are you married? Yes, Valerie answered softly. Ava twisted her head. Do you have a baby? No, not yet. Why not? Valerie smiled gently. Because God hasn't sent one to me yet. Ava looked puzzled. Wait. God sends babies? I thought they came from the hospital. Valerie laughed, a weary but warm sound that came from deep within her. What hospital? Who told you that? Our old nanny. She said people go to the hospital to collect their babies like a parcel. Valerie shook her head, still smiling. If only it were that simple, my dear. A few months into her job at the Nosu mansion, a kind of peace began returning to Valerie's soul, quiet, gradual, like the gentle drizzle that softens hard, dry earth. The twins no longer stormed through the house like mini-cyclones. They were calmer now, kinder. They picked up after themselves, shared toys, even debated over who loved her more. Daniel had started to look alive again, less like a man surviving and more like one remembering how to live. And Valerie? She had built something here. Not just a routine, but meaning. Her days had rhythm. Her laughter had returned. For the first time in a long time, she felt like herself, whole, useful, wanted. The Nosu house, once just a workplace, had begun to feel more like a sanctuary than the home she once gave up everything to create. But calm in one part of life doesn't mean calm everywhere. Because where peace lived in the Nosu mansion, chaos was busy setting fires in her so-called real home. It happened on a Thursday. Valerie came home after a long day, her body tired but her heart light. She'd just helped Ava make Puff Puff from scratch, and Aiden had hugged her in front of Daniel like it was the most natural thing in the world. Those tiny moments had filled her with something close to joy. But the feeling shattered the moment she stepped into her living room. A woman in bright red lace was perched on her couch like royalty, flipping through a magazine with bored confidence. No smile. No greeting. Just entitlement. Valerie froze. Before she could find words, Mama Martins emerged from the hallway, wrapper tied tight like a flag of war. Ah, Valerie. You're back. Come and greet your sister. I just returned from the village with her. Valerie blinked, confused. You're what? Your co-wife, Mama Martins announced, chest out with pride. I warned you. I told you I would not watch my son's destiny wither in your empty womb. This one is fresh. Fertile. Her womb is vibrating with grace and anointing. As the words hung heavy in the air, Martin strolled in casually, holding a nylon bag of suya, chewing with zero urgency, as if betrayal was just another flavor in his meat. Valerie turned to him, expecting him to deny it, to laugh, to say it was all a sick prank. He didn't even meet her eyes. You heard Mama. Accept it, or find your way out. Her world tilted. But she didn't scream. She didn't break anything. She didn't collapse to the floor like the woman in old Nollywood films. She just stood there, in the middle of her own home, heart cracking slowly like thin glass under heat. And then, somehow, she moved. She didn't leave. Not that night. She slept under the same roof as her replacement. She passed her in the hallway. She boiled water in the same kitchen where another woman now cooked future memories. Valerie opened the door while the new wife giggled softly behind her. She washed clothes quietly as Mama Martins lavished praise on the fresh bride, applauding her for breathing with grace. Months passed, and every single day felt like chewing sand mixed with pepper soup, bitter and relentless. One afternoon, Valerie returned from the market, hands full of fresh vegetables. As she approached the gate, she stopped cold. Her bags were lined up outside, arranged like luggage on eviction day. She stood frozen for a moment, then knocked once, twice. Finally, the door creaked open, and Mama Martins appeared, a cruel smile twisting her lips. "Ah, you're back," she sneered. "Good. My pastor came for deliverance last night and confirmed what I've long suspected, you're a witch. That's why this new girl can't conceive." Valerie's breath caught. The sky above was bright, but darkness swallowed her world whole. Mama Martins continued, voice dripping poison, "Pack your things and leave before your spirit curses her womb again." Then she slammed the door shut. Valerie stood motionless, saying nothing, no pleas, no questions about where Martins was. She simply stared at the locked door for 10 long minutes, then bent down slowly, gathered her bags, and walked away. No one stopped her. Just like that, a wife became a stranger. The woman who once filled the house with the aroma of cooking, the sound of prayers, and the warmth of love was reduced to nothing more than a few bags on the doorstep. She called Linda, the only person left she trusted. When Linda opened the door and saw Valerie standing there, dusty, sweaty, broken, she didn't say a word. Instead, she pulled Valerie inside and hugged her tight. "Sit down. Do you want tea or tears first?" Valerie dropped her bags and collapsed into her friend's arms. "I gave them everything," she whispered. "My name, my womb, my peace, and now I'm the witch they blame for their own foolishness." Linda sighed and kissed her forehead. "They will beg. God is still alive." Valerie didn't go to work the next day. Her eyes were swollen. Her hair looked wild and tangled. Her spirit felt miles away. She sent Daniel a text. "Good morning, sir. I have a family emergency and won't be able to come in today." "I'm sorry." He replied within seconds. "Take your time. Let me know if you need anything." But Valerie didn't need anything, she needed to feel human again. She stayed inside Linda's house for a full week. She barely spoke, barely ate, and slept like she was training for the Olympics. One quiet evening, the doorbell rang. Linda opened it, and there stood Daniel with Ava and Aiden. The moment the twins saw her, they screamed as if someone had pressed a joy button. "Miss," they ran to her, wrapping their arms tightly around her waist like they hadn't seen her in years. "You look like a zombie. Are you sick? Are you hurt? We miss you." Valerie knelt down and hugged them tightly, tears rolling uncontrollably down her cheeks. "We're hungry," Aiden pouted. "We haven't eaten in a year," Ava added, blinking dramatically. "The food doesn't taste like yours," Aiden sniffled. "You're the best cook in the world," Ava said proudly. She leaned close and whispered. "Come home soon. I'll drive away the boogeyman from your dreams, okay?" Valerie let out a shaky laugh and nodded. She rushed to the kitchen and made noodles with sausage and egg. The twins devoured it like they had escaped prison. Meanwhile, Daniel pulled her aside. "I heard what happened," he said softly. "I'm really sorry, Valerie. Just know that we're here for you anytime, any day." Valerie swallowed the lump in her throat. "Thank you, sir." Daniel looked at her seriously. "So, what's the plan now? Is the divorce final? Where will you stay?" She shrugged. "I plan to get a small apartment later this week and resume work." He was quiet for a moment, then said. "Why don't you just move in with us? Rent free, transport free, food free." That way you can save money and plan something for yourself. I'm sure you don't want to remain my children's nanny forever. Valerie shook her head immediately. I don't think that's a good idea, sir. I mean, what will people say? My reputation as a witch and a barren woman wouldn't be good for you if I move in. Daniel chuckled. That's nonsense. Are they the ones carrying your pain with you? You deserve peace, Valerie. You've earned it. But no pressure, think about it. Just then, the twins yelled from the living room. We want to sleep here tonight. No, Daniel called back. School tomorrow. Let's go. As they left, Ava looked back and blew Valerie a kiss. Valerie stood by the window, blinking fast, her heart beating differently. That night, she sat in Linda's room staring at the ceiling, and by 11:32 p.m., she picked up her phone and typed. I'll move in tomorrow. She hit send, ready to forge ahead. This is not the end. What is Valerie's fate? What happens to Martins and his new bride? Will Valerie survive in the Nosu mansion? Stay tuned for more drama in the Nosu mansion in the next episode. Until then, bye for now.